So, relatively light winds. There's a wee breeze down at the pickup, so I was kind of hoping it would get the wing up halfway down and soar up. Feels like probably just about soarable, but fairly light winds. All the orographic cloud we had at lunchtime, it's all burnt out. There's one bird flapping over there, but nothing up soaring at all. Could just be the time of year, and generally blue skies above. Possible tiny touches of wave cloud over that way, low level cumulus. Well, low, about 3,000 feet, but generally blue sky day. So had some nice flying yesterday up the coast till it blew out, and got to see if there's lift with the sun hitting the gorse bushes. So sort the wing here, pop it, maybe jog along, maybe take off, and if nothing else, get a nice little top to bottom. But with a bit of luck it'll be soarable. So, easy reverse launch conditions, but here relatively gentle slope before the gorse bush area. It doesn't exactly lift you straight off your feet. So plan of action, pop the wing up, jog along the top, and then off the steeper bit there's a slight crosswind, very slight northerly component, so launching off there still give the options of carving into land fairly high here rather than going down into the track. So pop the wing, jog along and see what it's like. Really modified Sigma. Anyway, fairly decent breeze, albeit a bit crossed right up at the top, so that's fairly northwesterly, which is fine. You can fly northwest here, but there's no movement at all to see on the gorse line just on the edge of the hill, so it's really only wind at hilltop height. So I'm just playing a bit of a waiting game. Now it is picking up very slightly, and certainly the grass is moving. So give it 20 minutes, half an hour max, and then if it's not too good, what we'll do is fly down from here, and I've got some other sites on the way back that I can go to for more top to bottoms. Just have a wee bit fun. But, days like today, you kind of get the feeling it's about time I got the paramotor rebuilt and back on the go. It would be a very nice day for a wee boat about with an engine. But even though the smoke along there is drifting, it's not rising much, it is literally just drifting along with the breeze. Looks like about 5 knots down at valley level at its absolute max, and probably more likely about 2 or 3. So, nice day to be on the hills, but it would be better with a company, bit of a barbecue, brew up cups of tea, and take turns to drive retrieve. But it's a Friday, so most people are stuck at work. I'll show you, it's one of the wings that I fly that's still an older one. It's not by any means the oldest, but old pool testing, so not approved for a standard harness. It is approved for cross-braced harness, and I don't use a cross brace. Not approved for a steering seat. I've actually got the wing and the steering seat. That's really old technology. No trimmers, got the accelerator, no trimmer bar, 3 risers, and mainly is 1B on asymmetric stall, and asymmetric leading edge touch and spin, it gets a C. That was long before the more familiar DHV or correctly LTF testing, the old, I think it was French and Swiss Akpol. And believe it or not, that's only 92, so in the scheme of aircraft, sort of 100 plus years of flying, it's not really that old, but 20 odd years. Quite a nice wing to fly though. When I first started flying up here, matter of fact one of the first places I flew was over by the quarry, but when I first started flying up at Forret you couldn't actually see the quarry from this side, and I can see the JCB working, so they're really taking out that hill big time. Anyway, about 10 minutes or so after the last bit of chatting on camera, wee bit more breeze picking up, still not seeing much movement on the gorse down by the ridge, but give it another minute or so, clip in and give it a wee bash. What I might do is hop fly along, hike up there, because the main northwest face is on the north hill, and if it's not too good, it still gives you a bit of a downwind beat, hopefully, certainly down at ground level. There was a tad more north. The turbine at Michelin, when I was driving across the water, was showing northerly, even though the road bridge ones were showing west-northwest. So there's a good chance of a downwind beat and head back to the pickup. If not, might fly down into the valley and then just hike back up. Never does any harm to get some exercise. Okay, I'm trying it with the rubber safety strap over the switch, so hopefully this won't knock on and off. Right, check the airspace, and I need to dodge around these gorse bushes, give it a wee gentle double bounce, see what that air's doing. Yeah, fairly crossed. So I've definitely gone a lot more north. So I've got the gorse bushes right there, so I'm going to switch. There's a launch there that will take that and cut down. I think probably do top to bottom, and if it has gone more northerly over Dundee way, there's a few sites along there that quite fancy having a wee flight at. So camera off just now, move across there to give me a better launch direction and see about flying down. I might go from that side, it's a shorter walk, might try it just from there, see how it goes. Okay, taxied along, roll corrected the wing. Yeah, there's a breeze coming up the slope face here, very northwest now. So I'm going to give that a quick bash and down to the pickup. So leave the camera loose, recheck the airspace, slow double bounce, get the wing tidied, settle, 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 recheck and bounce. No brakes needed, just tiptoe forwards, roll to correct. See, long strides. Now expect a catabatic. Little lumps of lift. Wee bits of sink as well. Yeah, lift again there. Watch for the fence, drop the wing, and yep, big time backdraft just before 6 feet say above the ground. So the wing's dropping, 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 and then suddenly catches the katabatic flow. You actually see it breeze there. Yep. So 10 feet above the ground, it's northerly, and from the feel of the side drift there, that's probably about 8 knots northerly. And then at ground level, enough of a katabatic coming down this wee slope here, and then it'll be the big slope over there pulling the air through, and that's probably about a 3 knot tailwind, but only in the last 6 feet. Nice little flight, very short walk left. Okay, right, so as we look up there, remembering everything from the flight perspective is reversed, so it's sort of mirror imaged. As we look up there, you can see the gorse area at the top and the crown, and the takeoff was, as we look on, to the left of it, so it was right. So the takeoff behind the gorse that's behind that was the slope that's predominantly northwest. It's not a flyable slope, it's just a wee slope that then takes you onto the west face. So double bouncing the wing, down to the west, step the wrong way, and using roll control, so the pilot position, to change the way the glider is flying, mostly without any hands on the brakes, so the hands on the camera etc. As you reach the actual main slope, which I'm already flying, not on the ground then, because it's a very efficient glide, so even at only say 7.5 to 1, the top slope is just enough for you to skim, provided you don't do committed launch, provided you're not using brakes, the so-called minimum sink. You just glide very efficiently. But just before takeoff I stepped the wrong way, so I went to my right. As we look on, that would be slightly to the left, giving the glider then a nice glide that comes straight down and out. As I'm coming down, different areas where the sun is hitting either the gorse bushes or the wet fields, different slopes etc, there's areas of lift and sink, and you can also feel changes in the ground speed. Now the reason you can feel the changes in the ground speed is because of course it affects not so much your airspeed, but literally your accelerating. So while you're flying through the air at roughly the same speed, unless there's a big vertical transition in the air, as you accelerate or decelerate, because of the change in the air you're in, you actually can feel that. You can't feel speed per se, feel the wind on your face, but can't feel speed per se, but you can feel acceleration and deceleration. Now typical when you're getting that, in a situation where you're expecting to get a katabatic flow at some point, it's a good indication of the wind shear that you're flying through. Anyway, once I'm coming over the fence line and into the field which dips down and then climbs up, getting about a third of the way into this muddy field, and suddenly I'm feeling a noticeable, on visual cues, mid-distance, far distance, your sort of leading light effect, you see that you're drifting, my perspective in flight, to the left. So drifting that way, indicating that at that height, which is probably 50 to 80 feet up, there's a north wind pushing me that way. Coming round, bending it round to land more parallel, rather than flying towards the hazard. As you come into land you want to parallel, even if the wind's a different way. It gives you a lot more options. Coming into land, high chance the slope closing in shadow that is a katabatic flow. Consider brakes, rear rising player, single step stop. The wing dropped as normal, and then when the wing, that way the trailing edge, when the wing was about 6 feet above ground level, suddenly the wing came straight towards me and literally hitting the back of the legs. So that sort of backdrafting is because at ground level, 6 feet up, you've got a slight, might only be 3 knots in this case, wind going down the slope, so that's a southerly. So main part of flight, launch, gentle northwesterly, make it easy launch. Relatively neutral, just a bits of lift and bits of sink as I come out, not much drift in any direction. Coming down lower into the middle section of the field, a noticeable drift to my left, indicating a northerly at that height. Coming into land, down slope and right down on ground level, katabatic. It's actually not that dangerous when it's that low, but when the katabatic is when the pilot's say 20 feet above the ground, suddenly then your ground speed could increase 10-15 knots and you're going over the ground at 30-40 miles an hour. I've seen it happen. Those type of landings, particularly if you're landing onto the face of a hill down near the bottom, you don't want to be flying out the way you would normally be. You actually want to go along the contour and you can tell whether it's drifting. If it's katabatic, you've got to drift out from the hill. You can turn round, as I've done many times, and just land straight or near straight in onto the contour. Zero ground speed virtually. Good flight.